What's going on, guys? I'm going to be comparing Superman 1, but the original Superman series versus the original Batman series. I'm talking about film series, the 4 movies. In this video, we're going to be reviewing Superman the movie versus Batman the movie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, Superman is really the film that kicked off really the superhero craze that we've been seeing growing since the 70s. The movie was so popular, it started not only a franchise, but it started sparking more interest in superhero films. Now, Batman also reinforced that same interest. So, for those that don't know, okay, Superman, and typically these videos I go down plot, characters, writing, action, just make comparisons. Now, Superman came out in 1978, I believe, and the story follows Superman, who ends up having to deal with Lex Luthor, who is in one of his nefarious schemes, trying to freak out and do some wild stuff. So, in this film, I thought the story itself, I thought was actually okay. I'm not the biggest Superman fan of the first film, at least, but it's an all right story. It depicts the origin of Superman, introducing him in his infancy, as Kal-El of Krypton, him growing up under Martha Kent and her husband, and him disguising himself as Clark Kent, adopting the role of Superman. And he ends up having to deal with the villainous Lex Luthor. The story, I like the story. It's very hopeful. It's very lighthearted. It definitely has that feature of wanting to do better to it. It's not really as deep as I would like it to be. Uh, it does go at a fairly good pace, and there are some really good beats to it. The story just it has that silver age feel to it, or I want to say that it's either the golden age or silver age feel to it. It's a bit campy, but at the same time, it does have a lot of themes that work for it. It's a fun film. It's just, but it's a lot. But one of the best things about it, it's a very character focused film, and that's what really sells it about the story of Clark finding his way in a world of finding his way, especially given his abilities, the backstory of him growing up, and then him trying to fit in the Daily Bugle, his relationships with Perry and Jimmy, and specifically with Lois Lane. And then, of course, you got the Superman persona as he's revealing himself to the world, and his relationship with these same characters, as well as the rivalry he has with Lex Luthor. It's as an origin film, I think it's pretty good. It does enough to establish the first beat, the origin of the character, while actually giving us a decent film as well. So it's a fun film, and I think that the story does work. Now, on the other side, we look at the Batman film. In this film, it depicts Batman's war on crime when he has to deal with this up and coming villain called the Joker. And this one definitely has the opposite feel to it. Not in terms of it being good or bad or anything. It's actually a good film, but instead of it being more like an origin story, it feels the story is already established. Batman is already in the city. He's doing this thing. Well, I don't want to say he's already in the city, and it feels like people know of him but don't know him directly yet. He's started making a wave, but I don't think the film actually says how long he's been doing it. But to get the sense that he has been doing it, and people kind of there's like this mythos around him, like, is he real or is he not real? And that works to the film's favor as well. This one is, I feel, just as character focused. It's a good story. There are some interesting twists to it. I feel like it's less camp. It's definitely more darker, more serious, and it does have some campy moments here. And that typically has to do with more of the aesthetic of it. I feel like if Superman was golden age, then this one's more like silver age. But this story follows Batman, and it also deals with a bit of his trauma because it does show you what happened to him as well, what was a traumatic event that started him on the path up to becoming Batman, and it works in a lot of ways. But it does dive into that trauma. I will say that it's a good story. It has a good twist. I do like this one. It does have more action in it. And a lot, and I like fights. And like me, when I watch a superhero film or a comic book movie that's based off superheroes and stuff, I'm about fights. And I do like the fights in the film. Some of them are a bit cheesy with the one hitters, but there are some there's a pretty good fight at the end as well. But there's some pretty good action sequences in this one. I did find that this was actually a really fun film. It took itself seriously, and it's one of those films that is able to, I believe, cater to. I think both films can cater because of the story. That both the stories can cater to both adults and kids. There's the hopeful nature, and aspiring to become better in the Superman film. And then there's this darker tone that's a bit more serious, a bit more edgy, that works well for Batman. But I think it can fit a multitude of demographics. I think it works in a lot of ways. Just the Batman story is actually really cool, and I will say this: I do not like the ending of Superman. I don't. There's a sequence where Lois Lane dies, and Superman, in order to save her, flies in reverse and reverses the polarity of the world to basically time travels. He basically reverses time to save her. I don't like that one. I rather would sit better with the Batman film, in which there's this badass fight in this tower, the Joker gets killed, and there's some funny, and there's some dialogue, some good dialogue. And also, I do like but I would say this: both of them have this really good ending of. And at the end of this, when Superman's doing this thing where he's flying in like the higher atmosphere, and he kind of smiles and goes past the camera, great. And then in Batman, you have it where is the camera zooming up, and then you just see Batman on top of the building. Absolutely great. The last shots are actually pretty cool, but I'd say the stories are actually pretty good. Now, in terms of the characters, I want to start with the heroes. I do like Superman, this incarnation of Superman. I think he has presence, but he has compassion. I think he's smart. I think he has presence. I think there's a certain charisma to him. He can be very serious, but he can be charming. And I do like that this version of his character has the hopeful, more symbolic feel to the character, and it definitely works. Christopher Reeve is definitely one of the best Superman. I'd say there's 3 good Superman, and he's definitely one of them. I think that he has I like his relationships with the supporting characters. I like his back and forth with Lex Luthor. I think this Superman actually has weight to the character, definitely has a bit of presence. And on the other side of that, the heroes, and you know what? I'll just go to the Superman first, then go back to Batman. Okay. So in terms of that, I do like this portrayal of Superman. The villain Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman. I like Gene Hackman. I think he's a good actor. I've never liked his Lex Luthor. I think, yes, he's campy. He's from that golden age version of Superman, and the older version of Superman. But I don't like him because I don't like somebody that who's a criminal mastermind running around telling everybody he's a criminal mastermind. I'm like, well, that's a reason to get locked up, or at least get investigated. If you're gonna be a mastermind, you got to kind of be a low key a little bit or something. And it's not that the character. I just don't feel like the character is. For one, I don't see the intelligent character side of the character. Lex Luthor is supposed to be very intelligent, and again, yes, this is based off the older version of Lex Luthor. But I would have liked to see him being more intelligent. I see the business side of the character, but I just don't think he was. I just don't find him as compelling. He's definitely funny. I'll give you that. He says some funny stuff in this film, but I just don't like him as a serious villain, especially given how the high stakes that Reeve has done with Superman. It's like if Reeve brought the A game to level 5 as a Superman, as a Lex Luthor, I say he's probably like a 3, or might even be a 2. He does not match the level of complexity, especially with the acting that I felt that Reeve did with Superman. So I did not like this level of Lex Luthor. I could not take him seriously in any capacity. And as far as the supporting cast, the supporting characters, they're likable. Lois Lane, I don't like this version of Lois Lane. I think she's, for lack of a better word, a bitch. I just don't like her. I know I've always known Lois Lane to be a bit edgy, kind of rebellious, a bit snarky, a bit of a smart ass, but I don't like, and even if how she is with that, she's not like a dick about it to people. But I felt like this version of her was bad. I just didn't like her. And then kind of how she has her back and forth with Clark. I don't really like that because it just comes out. She just comes off as kind of a bitch. And I'm like, I don't like her. And then maybe I'm comparing her to the Lois Lane from the Superman animated series, who is much more likable. But she still has those qualities. And I just ultimately don't really like this version of Jimmy. He's there. He's likable. There. Perry, he's likable. He's there. Miss Tessmacher, Lex's sidekick, side piece, wherever she is, definitely funny. But the supporting characters, for the most part, basically the characters, aside from Reeve, who just completely owns every scene he's in, even especially when he's Superman, but when he's Clark, he's enjoyable to watch as well. And if you look at, but just really the characters, like I said, Lex and Lois are they're kind of the lowest points for me. I think really most of the supporting characters feel better to me than them two. So I can say that. Now on the side of Batman, Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton kills it. He's got the same the same charisma, strength, presence that Reeve has as Superman, but he has that darker edge that Batman needs. He's actually pretty cool as Batman. I do actually like him as Bruce Wayne as well. I don't think the film dived into enough of his playboy persona, because he ultimately does come off as a bit more serious and not as laid back as I think he should have been as Bruce Wayne. Because that typically would throw people off if you're acting completely different from the persona that you're trying to hide from. But ultimately, I liked him. I think he was great. I thought he was a good Batman. I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne. I liked his performance. Batman was actually pretty badass in the film. People were scared of him. I liked him. He has a lot of really good moments as well. As far as the Joker in this movie was actually really good. Jack Nicholson, I never really appreciated how good he was as the Joker until get older. I like the fact that he had that same level of goofiness to him that Lex had, but he was actually much more charismatic. He was much more dangerous. He was much more serious. Like he was just in terms of the campiness of the character, Nicholson definitely nailed it and still made him a really, really good incarnation of the character. And I love the back and forth that he does, the one-liners that he has, really cool. The back and forth that he do have with Batman, really cool. So I do appreciate the villain of the film. I thought it was really, really cool, especially given the stuff that he was doing. He just completely just off his rocker. And it was really interesting when you think about it. Plus, I started reading more of, like, they're doing a continuation of it. So going back and reading those books and reading the continuations and how those effects go on and stuff, it really gets in your head of just how smart the character actually is. And then there is the supporting cast as well. Vicky Vale, she was really, really good. She was a likable character. She had that same, I feel, rebellious streak that Lois Lane has, but she was much more likable. Really appreciated her. And that one reporter guy, I can't remember his name, the one that liked her. I want to say he liked her. I liked him too. I liked him too. And then Alfred. Alfred's awesome. The one person I feel like didn't get enough screen time was probably Commissioner Gordon. I don't think he had enough screen time to make even a dent. I wish there was a bit more conversation between him and Batman, but again, I think in this version of Batman, he's kind of a myth a little bit, rather than actually, fully established. Kind of like if you look at Batman animated series, everybody knows Batman's there. Everybody knows. There's no question. But in this one, it's like the criminals kind of think, kind of know he's there. He's kind of rumored to be there, but not really. And I think the cops kind of say him the same way, like he could be actually a thing there, or people are just saying it. So I wish Gordon had more to do in the film, but ultimately, I say I did like the character in this film. I don't think there was really, outside of Gordon not really having any moments, I'd really say I like the characters in this film and Batman more than in Superman. Now, in terms of casting, both of them really good cast. In Superman, of course, you got Christopher Reeves. Even though I do not like the Lex Luthor, I can say that I like Gene Hackman. I like him. Margot Kidder. I don't like her version of Lois Lane, but at the same time, I can't say she did like a bad acting or anything. Now, this is a bit of an older film, and outside of really them three, I don't really know anybody else in the film. But I will say, at least with them, the acting was actually pretty good. And despite my gripes with two of the main supporting characters, I still say the casting was actually pretty good. That's like I said, casting was pretty good. Not to mention Gene Hackman's a legend. And then, Margot Kidder, Reeves, gone on to do some good things, especially for the Superman mythology and other incarnations, which is actually pretty cool as well. But I will say that I feel that same way kind of with Batman. In Batman, great cast. You got Michael Keaton, just completely does it. Jack Nicholson, which I think Jack Nicholson and Gene Hackman. I feel like Christopher Reeve but because Christopher Reeve, what happened to him, I feel like Christopher Reeve could have been at the level Michael Keaton is now had he lived, had he not had his accident. But I think Jack Nicholson kind of hits that same level as Gene Hackman. So, and then you got Margot Kidder, and Kim Basinger. I think Kim Basinger is really, really good. You got Robert Wool. There's a lot of really cool actors. Billy Dee was actually in the film as well. I believe he was the mayor. So yeah. I did like that. And then in terms of the directors, Richard Donner ended up directing Superman, and he does a really good job with it. I'm outside of the first and the second film, I don't really know much of what he's done. So, not saying that that's bad or anything. I just know basically off what I've seen in this film, it's actually pretty good. And then on the Batman side of things, Tim Burton's done a lot of good things that Nightmare Before Christmas. I think he did the Sweeney Todd film. This man has been on it with these crazy movies. The Corpse Bride. He's done a lot of things. That I really, really enjoyed. Did he do Beetlejuice? Yeah, he did Beetlejuice too. So he's done a lot of things, especially with Michael Keaton. But in terms of casting, great cast, great performances. I'll bet the Lex Luthor thing. But outside of that, I say solid performances. Now, I would say this, in terms of the writing, direction, and tone, Superman has some problems with that. It does the story justice of the character and telling a good story. I feel one of the problems that I had with it is kind of the ending. I think that's The Lex Luthor character and how he goes about doing the things that he does in the film should have been worked on a bit better. I would have liked it better, especially given what his character is. He's just like this wealthy guy, and the way that it's played is kind of kiddish, kind of campy. How he gets caught, how he goes to jail, just the overall plan itself, just the and writing in that department, I didn't really like. And then just again the ending with the time travel, reversing time thing, which felt lazy. And even there's a scene where Lois is in the middle of no freaking where. There's nobody else out there in a desert or something. And she's driving, and there's an earthquake based on the explosion that resulted from one of the nuclear missiles that Superman wasn't able to stop. And the crack is following the road that she's driving. It's not cracking outside of the road. It's literally following the road, and the road's twisting. And I'm like, really? And then the reversing of the time is like, I didn't like that. It's just the writing around Lex, and then this is Superman. He's fighting Lex Luthor, so there's not a lot of fight scenes. There's not like action or anything like that. It's just, I mean, there's some cool sequences, but there's not like action, like really cool action. I will say that I don't have a problem with the direction. I thought it was done well. The tone, I think, works well as well. And I do like the dialogue. Christopher Reeve's Superman, crisp with the dialogue. I would say this, between Lex Luthor and Superman, dialogue was actually crisp. Really good one-liners and everything. So I will say the writing, direction and stuff, I think actually is pretty good. I just have those little nitpicks with the film. And then we look on the Batman side of it. We look at the writing, direction, the dialogue. I'll say this. I think that the direction actually was really good. I think the writing is a bit better in terms of establishing villain, motivations, the plan, the writing regarding the pacing, action sequences, much, because Superman, it's hard to make Superman have good action sequences without over the top things going on. Whereas Batman is a bit more grounded, so you can make more believable, more action sequences, such as him fighting regular henchmen, car chases, stuff like that, him doing crazy stunts. You definitely get that in the film. There's a car chase in it. There are some fights that's going on in the film. There are some funny moments. There's some good moments. There's some tense moments. And the darker tone of it also lends to that. So I say the writing is done really good. And again, the dialogue. I like how a lot of conversations do feel meaningful, specifically between Bruce and Vicky. Hell, even the Joker has some meaningful dialogue here and there. Bruce and Alfred, it's just great in that capacity. There's a lot that I could say works with that. But, there's more you can go into, such as the music, which I'm going to add the music in as well. That Superman theme, the Superman thing is on point. John Williams did his thing with the Superman thing. That's literally probably the most iconic superhero theme song, just like in cinema. I mean, there's some pretty close ones too. I do like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man theme. I do like the Avengers theme. I do like the Amazing Spider-Man theme song. Like, there's a lot of other ones that I think that are actually really good. Hell, I like the Man of Steel one as well. It's completely badass. It's just a lot of great ones. But The Dark Knight, great themes. So, but John Williams' Superman is epic. It has a very a resounding emotional legacy, just legendary feel to it. And even on the Batman side of it, like the soundtracks, like on both ends, the soundtracks are really good. And not to mention Prince Party Man was just a great fun song, and that was a fun sequence as well. But having said that, I think personally, in terms of movie, I'm a bit on the fence for it. I feel like Batman kind of beats it by a little, but I still enjoy both the films. Both do have a little bit like problems here and there, and ultimately, I will say I think Batman's a bit better than Superman, but that's how I feel about it. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know. What are your thoughts? Do you think Superman the movie is better than Batman, or Batman is better than Superman the movie? Excuse me. All this talking got me thirsty. So, anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. Which one you think is better? And be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. And we'll definitely catch you guys later.